Alright, what's up, y'all? We're back, and like I said, we're going to try to stay back, and even if there are lapses, we going to be back. You know what it is. I'm just going to try to keep these things going, but as we are going along, I am going to let you know this is going to be actually a bit of an AEW heavy video, because, yeah, just, you'll see why here in a bit, but we're going to actually start more WWE first, specifically with my man AJ Styles. Now, it's been reported now that AJ Styles' contract is set to expire either at the end of this year or the beginning of 2025. I'm not really sure either which way, and I don't particularly care to investigate all that deeply into that. But what I will say, however, is this is significant for a variety of reasons, and it's not even just because it's AJ Styles. I'm thinking about the fact that the career, the resume that this man has put together is just really difficult to match on so many different levels, especially given the fact that he actually started in WCW, but of course a lot of things that were WCW actually carried over a bit into what ultimately became what we know as Total Nonstop Action, or TNA Wrestling, of course. And he was a huge foundation for that. Former world champion, former X Division champion. I'm thinking he was a tag team champion there, but I'm not 100% sure. And if that ain't enough for you, former Ring of Honor champion, I'm thinking. Certainly IWGP champion during his time there before going to WWE. And really and truly for me, personally, I just feel as if regardless of whatever decision he makes, should his contract actually be expiring, it really doesn't matter, because the man can't go wrong either way, and neither can we. Why? Let's look at it like this. One, he could go back to AEW and he could actually be good, but I don't know how much room there really is for him. But if need be, they'll definitely make room for it. He's certainly worthy of it, and I'm pretty sure Triple H thinks very highly of him, to the point to where he'd be more than happy to work with him however he sees fit. But if, say, he were to go to AEW, I feel like he could have something very significant there. Now, is it needle moving? I don't necessarily know. I wouldn't say yes to that. But what I would say, however, is it's going to be huge for AEW on a variety of levels, and it's not even for the obvious reasons. It's actually for the fact that it's going to be somewhere where there is room for him, even though there are bloated rosters, but he has main event credibility that will go a long way for them. And if they need to build the brand around him a bit, they can very easily do that. Now, another alternative, you could go back to TNA. I wouldn't be mad at that. In fact, I think he'd be happy to do that. I don't know necessarily that's going to be the case, and I don't even know if they would be able to afford him at this point. But if they were able to make something work out, I'd totally be here for it. The other thing about it, though, he could also retire. I mean, he's been around long enough, he's accomplished more than enough. Either way, whatever happens with AJ Styles, I definitely respect and enjoy everything I've seen of his career. And I hope he keeps it going, because he's still definitely got a lot that he can contribute to the business. And if nothing else, I hope it's something that works within the means that he has set for himself and his family. But with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and move along and keep things moving as we get into the AEW portion of things, where we're talking about a couple of contracts, specifically a re-signing of Saraya here. And this is really good, just given the fact that I think it's fair to say that the women's division has improved significantly just in this year alone. And one of my favorite things about that is the fact that when Mercedes Moné came along, she made it a point to where if she was going to be a part of it, they have to be at least 2 women's segments of AEW programming every episode, be it Dynamite or Collision. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you could fit it into Rampage doing it correctly, but Rampage likely won't matter so much after a certain point, especially with this TV deal, at least looming TV deal that seems to be coming with Fox. I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen with that. But just focusing again on the women's division and the impact that she can actually still have on that, and believe me, she can still have an impact there. Excuse me. I just feel like this is a really good signing. I don't know necessarily that terms are going to be good to where she would be good to go back to WWE, but then again, I don't know. I'm not in on the conversations that she may or may not have with anybody there at WWE, specifically Triple H, who I think would be the one that would actually be the catalyst of making that ever happen again. But even then, between her countrywoman in Jamie Hayter, and of course the world champion in Mariah May, this women's division is definitely being elevated to a point where you gotta take them seriously in a way that you probably didn't believe was going to be possible. And regardless of how you may feel about AEW specifically, they've done a lot of the things needed to show they're going in the right direction. And even though Saraya hasn't been a factor, let's not act like she can't be, because she absolutely can, and I expect her to be. And with that in mind, speaking of other signings, well, if the cat wasn't already out the bag, it certainly is now. Shane McMahon, of course, seen here with the Young Bucks. I mean, look, we all know he's on his way there. We all expect him to be a part of it. Hell, a lot of people expected him to be a part of last night's Grand Slam programming, but that wasn't the case. We actually got the okie doke and got MVP instead, which I'm absolutely here for, believe me when I tell you this, for a variety of reasons that I'm about to go into. But one thing that's important to point out, and this is just going back to the whole thing Mox did with Tony Schiavone, even though that should have been Tony Khan, obviously, but we won't go into those details. There's no way he isn't going to be a part of that storyline. In fact, he's going to be that figurehead in the storyline that's, I guess, sort of what Ted DiBiase kind of was in a way with the NWO. I don't know, but if nothing else, he's going to be that, but he's going to be more Bischoff in that case, because, you know, they talked about how, you know, Mox said, you know, it's not your company anymore and everything. Who else would you have in the fold if you're not going to have Shane McMahon to put on a storyline like that? Anybody? Anybody? I mean, I can't think of anybody else, but I like this because I think we definitely got a lot of good things to look forward to with this, and I just can't wait till we actually do get them on TV. With that in mind, speaking of AEW TV, of course, I want to talk a little bit about my man Will Washington here, who is a huge part of the higher-ups of AEW, and he actually put up a post on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, talking about how happy he was with how everything went with last night's Dynamite programming, especially when it comes to specifically, Grand Slam and everything else that pertains to AEW. And again, I feel like things have been going nothing but the right direction. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. Now, a lot of people have been talking about Grand Slam either not being a good show last night or just being bad. I'm here to tell you, y'all are full of shit or just mistaken altogether. I guess I won't say full of shit to the full extent, but for those of you in the IWC that are on that shit, yeah, the fuck you are. But anyway, no, what I'm trying to say here is that it wasn't as if Grand Slam was one of the better episodes of the year. It wasn't, because I can think of at least two of them that were definitely better. Specifically the episode where Mariah May won the Owen Hart Classic and turned on Toni Storm. Probably the episode of the year. That from last night was not that, or what we got from last night was not that, excuse me. But it wasn't a bad show. If anything, I saw a lot of smart decisions that lead me to believe, again, we're going in the right direction with this. And I gotta believe that, especially with the addition of MVP Shane McMahon and ultimately Bobby Lashley and others, I can't see any reason to believe that we're going to see things go down from here. I mean, I'm not saying, again, things are going to be perfect. Hell, let's rewind back to the point where Triple H actually took over head of creative from Vince McMahon of WWE. I said then, shit will not be perfect. There are going to be some bumps in the road along the way with this. But now we're pretty much at the point we were expecting to be with that. Now, I will also point out that there have been an awful lot of misses with both Raw and SmackDown. I have also said before, I do enjoy NXT more than any of these shows right now. But, with that being said, I have to acknowledge that AEW is doing a lot of the things they need to be. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but it's better than it has been the last couple of years. And that's all we can ask for. That's literally all we can ask for. It's only a matter of time before we're saying a lot of the same things about AEW that we've been saying recently with WWE. Trust and believe on that. With that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Y'all know what it is. Let me know what y'all think down below. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed. And I am A&J. You gotta believe there's going to be more.